Hello everyone in English Vibes with Nagita. I know this is a new video which I am going to record it for you all. So why I am coming with this video? As we all know that English vocabulary is really important, but we cannot cram all the vocabulary and learn it in one go. So for that we need to read it every day. For this, I'm using this English Vocabulary in Use Advanced third edition. If you want me to share the link of the book, I can share it from the Amazon. You can buy it. Okay. Cramming for success, study and academic work. So, this particular vocabulary is related to study and academic work. So, if you are a student or someone who wants to do some research and an academic field, can watch this video. Now, let's start study and exams. Before an exam, some students cram for it. Before an exam, some students cram for it. Cram means study in a very concentrated way for a short time. You're cramming it because you have an exam. So before exam, you are doing it. So students cram for it. Even if you're a genius, so even if you're a genius, genius is an exceptionally clever person. You will have to do some revision at least. So if the exam happens every year, you can revise by looking at past papers. So what is past year papers? Past year papers related to exam papers from previous years. So we also say PYQ, previous year question papers, right? Some things can be memorized or learnt off by heart. So, but rote learning is learning purely by repetition. That means you don't even know the meaning and you are learning it by your heart. So, but rote learning is not sufficient for most subjects. It is also possible to use mnemonics. So don't miscorrect it. Don't mispronounce it. It's mnemonics. It's not mnemonics. It's mnemonics. M is silent here. So what is the meaning of mnemonics? Mnemonics. See the pronunciation here. Mnemonics. That is a trick that help you remember something. For example, I before E except after C is mnemonic for English spelling. Example, friend. So here IEND, it's friend, but receive EI. So here you can see the spelling of friend and receive. So in friend you are writing FRIEND, in receive you are writing RECEIVE. Okay, however, all things considered, the best idea is to bury yourself in your books and to study intensively until you know the subject inside out. So, what is the meaning of this one? Bury yourself in your books? That means spend the maximum time studying. You're like a geek. All right. So, to study intensively, intensively is nothing but in a very focused way. You're very concentrated with your subject. So, until you know the subject inside out. Inside out means know it completely. So, how many words we have learned it right now? Cram, genius, past papers, rote learning, mnemonics, and intensively, and as well as bury yourself in your books plus inside out. So, what are the meanings of all these 8 words? Cram means to study in a very concentrated way for a short time. Genius is an exceptionally clever person. Third one is exam papers from previous years, that is past papers. And the another one is memorized or learnt off by heart. So, but for rote learning, rote learning is the fourth one, learning purely by repetition. It is not sufficient for most subjects. So, mnemonics means tricks that help you remember something. For example, I before E, except after C is a mnemonic for English spelling. Friend but receive. So you can see the spelling of friend and the received spelling is different. Another one is bury yourself in your books means spend the maximum time studying intensively in a very focused way and know the subject inside out, know it completely. Now the academic writing. In academic writing, what are we going to use these words? What are those? Let's see. Composition. Composition could be just 50 to 100 words, often used for schoolwork, academic writing. Composition could be just 50 to 100 words, often used for schoolwork. Essay longer than a composition, more serious, hundreds or thousands of words. Assignment, a long essay, often part of a course, usually thousands of words. Project like an assignment, but emphasis on students' own material and topic. Portfolio. Portfolio is a collection of individual pieces of work may include drawings and other examples of creative work as well as writing. So you can make your own portfolio by showing your pieces of work, and it could include your drawings and other examples of creative work. For example, if I'm a teacher, I can create my portfolio by indicating about my own experience and how many years of experience I have. Dissertation is a long research based work, perhaps 10 to 15,000 words for a degree or diploma. Thesis Thesis is a very long original research based work, perhaps 80 to 1 lakh words for a higher degree, example PhD. It's a good idea to start with a mind map. So, what is a mind map? It's a diagram that lays out ideas for a topic and how they are connected to one another when preparing an essay. So, it's a good idea to start with a mind map when preparing an essay. Let's do one thing. Let me read all the word meanings first, and then we will go to the paragraph. All right? What do you say? Let's start. Mind map, first draft, then plagiarism, acknowledge, deadline, submitted, assessed, feedback. Please don't pay attention to all my words. Somewhere I also do mistakes. It's fine. Mind map is a diagram that lays out ideas for a topic and how they are connected to one another. First draft, first rough version. So, first draft is the first one, that is the rough version. Then, plagiarism. Plagiarism, using other people's work as if it was yours. So, why do we say in academic writing that plagiarism is a must to check, that you are not doing any copy of anyone else? So, copyright issues can come. That's why we always check it. So, it's a very serious offense in colleges and universities if you copy someone else's work by saying it as if it is yours or it was yours. Fourth one is acknowledge. Acknowledge is give details of something. You're acknowledging about something. Fifth one is the deadline, date by which you must hand in the work. So it's a deadline. Deadline is a date by which you must hand in the work. Submitted, handed in. Handed in is like you have submitted your work, you've submitted your assignment like that. Then it will be assessed. Assessed means evaluated and given a grade. Feedback means comments from the teacher or tutor. Now let me read this paragraph. Now it's a good idea to start with a mind map when preparing an essay. Always write a first draft before writing up the final version. Your essay should be all your own work. Plagiarism is a very serious offense in colleges and universities. It is an increasing problem because it is so easy to cut and paste from materials available on the internet, and students have to sign a plagiarism for form to say that the work they are handling is all their work, all their own, and they acknowledge any sources they have used. See, if I don't know what am I reading, I will fumble. It's obvious. So what I have to do, I have to read it very seriously, very in a focused way. So let me read this sentence again. It is an increasing problem because it is so easy to cut and paste from materials available on the internet. And students have to sign a plagiarism form to say that the work they are handling and is all their own and that they acknowledge any sources they have used. Now, this one is better. There is usually a deadline. After the essay is submitted, it will be assessed and usually you can get feedback. Nice one. All right, so aspects of higher academic study. What are the aspects of higher academic study? See how many vocabularies we are getting from this particular page only. Now, research part. University academics carry out research and are expected to read academic journals which publish papers or articles on specialized subjects. If a library does not have a copy of a book or journal, you may be able to access it online, or you can usually get it through an interlibrary loan. Open educational resources are particularly convenient for many students. Academic study can be very demanding, and some students drop out, but the majority survive till finals and become well qualified members of their future professions. Now, what are the words here? Carry out research. Second one is academic journals, access to online, interlibrary loan, open educational resources, dropout, finals, and well qualified. So, one by one, carry out research means less formal, that is, do research. Second, academic journals, magazines with academic articles. We do not use the word magazine to talk about this kind of academic publication. That's why we say academic journals. So, we are emphasizing on academic by saying it's the journal about academics. Third one is access to online. Access it online. Access it online is like get hold of it on the internet. The fourth one is interlibrary loan. Interlibrary loan is related to the system where libraries exchange books or journals with one another. Dropout. Dropout is the sixth one, right? Okay, what was the fifth one? Fifth one is open education resources. Open education resources means online materials that can be freely used by teachers and students anywhere. All right, sorry for this. So fourth one is interlibrary loan. Interlibrary loan is system where libraries exchange books or journals with one another. That is interlibrary loan. So inter, INTER, not intra. Interlibrary is system where libraries exchange books or journals with one another. Then we have dropout. Dropout is leave the course before the end. So before the end, you are dropping out. So dropout is leave the course before the end. Last one, or before it one, there's one finals. Finals is like last exams before the end of the college, end of a college or university course. Next one is well qualified with the right formal qualification. You're well qualified members of their future profession. So well qualified is the right formal qualification. Nice, very nice. So let me recap it again for you. Cramming for success, study and academic work. Before an exam, some students cram for it. Even if you are a genius, you will have to do some revision. If the exam happens every year, you can revise by looking at past papers. Some things can be memorized or learnt off by heart, but rote learning is not sufficient for the most subjects. It is also possible to use mnemonics. However, all things considered, the best idea is to bury yourself in your books and to study intensively until you know the subject inside out. Academic writing, composition, essay, assignment, project, portfolio, dissertation, thesis. Composition could be just 50 to 100 words, often used for schoolwork. Essay longer than a composition, more serious, hundreds or thousands of words. Assignment, a long essay, often part of a course, usually thousands of words. Project, like an assignment, but emphasis on students' own material and topic. Portfolio is a collection of individual pieces of work, may include drawings and other examples of creative work as well as writing. Dissertation is a long research based work, perhaps 10 to 15,000 words for a degree or diploma. Thesis is a very long, original, research based work, perhaps 80 to some lakh words for the highest degree, example PhD. It's a good idea to start with a mind map when preparing an essay. Always write a first draft before writing up the final version. Your essay should be all your own work. Pleasure, pleasure. Okay, see this one. Plagiarism. All right, plagiarism. Plagiarism is a very serious offense in colleges and universities. It is an increasing problem because it is so easy to cut and paste from materials available on the internet, and students have to sign a plagiarism form to say that the work they are handling in is all their own and that they acknowledge any sources they have used. There is usually a deadline. After the essay is submitted, it will be assessed and usually you can get feedback. Aspects of higher academic study. So, university academics carry out research and are expected to read academic journals which publish papers or articles on specialized subjects. If a library does not have a copy of a book or journal, you may be able to access it online or you can usually get it through an interlibrary loan. Open educational resources are particularly convenient for many students. Academic study can be very demanding, and some students drop out but the majority survive till finals and become well qualified members of their future professions. All right, so how many words we have collected, sorry, all right, 8 here. Then we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Oh my God, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. Okay, we got 34 words in one particular page, that is study and exams related words. Let me read it out again for you. Cram, genius, do some revision, revise past papers, memorize or learn out by heart, rote learning, mnemonics. Bury yourself in your books intensively, you know the subject inside out. Composition, essay, assignment, project, portfolio, dissertation, thesis. Mind map, first draft, writing up, pleasure, plagiarism, form, deadline, acknowledge, submitted, assessed, feedback. Carry out research, academic journals, papers or articles, access it online, interlibrary loan, open educational resources, dropout, finals, well qualified. Good. That's really very nice that I have read this in one go. Now, this is English Vocabulary in Use Advanced. You can go to the Amazon, you can find this book, and you can read it. In another way, you want me to do this for you, so I'm doing it every day. So let's continue with this. All right. Thank you so much for listening to me. And in this way, we are going to learn some vocabulary. So see yourself how many words you have collected and how many have you remembered. So if there are some that you can, close your eyes and you can recall many of them, write it down on the comment section. I want to see how many words you can remember in one go and how many words you have already, you know, known. All right. See you in the next session for vocabulary section. Bye bye. Take care.